a dom. You need it in your bum.
Aren't I the one who usually sighs? Why
Yeah.
you can't come for my gig?
Yeah. All that's left.
My gig is all that's left. There's lots of people with gigs. Take theirs.
No one. There's no jobs, no jobs, no hope, and no cash, and no Tina Turner. There's no jobs, no hope, no cash, and no Tina. It's like a bad rave.
Jump into that. That's one of my topics on my list.
Beyonce had Tina Turner killed, and it's a horrible week, you know?
Allegedly.
Well, what's she gonna do? Sue me from her $200 million house? I have a theory that Beyonce and her husband are not as wealthy as they say that they are.
What? Why? I mean,
Because they keep saying, we're billionaires, we're billionaires, we're billionaires. On what basis? You have a brand deal with Adidas. You have income coming in from royalties. That's probably about 10 or 20 million. Like, I'm not saying that they're not wealthy, but they do this thing where they either make offers on or allegedly buy houses, and then later down the line, it's like, oh no, they actually didn't buy that. That was just PR. Or they got outbid for something. You know?
maybe they're worth billions, but they don't have billions in the bank. Is that fair?
I think that's possible. But I also don't see it like, okay, so this is a very good question, a very good point. With Trump's wealth, he has this building in New York, plus the building downstairs, plus just the Gucci store alone is worth, I think, in the top hundreds of millions of dollars. Just the one outside of Trump Tower. So there's certain things that have actual land value, price per square foot, revenue coming in per year, leases and things like that. So that's you're not going to take that away from him. Those add up, to like 2 to 3 billion, and then the rest of his value is the brand itself of the golf courses, the merchandise, this,
Which has a valuation, yeah.
Which goes between 6 to 10, I think, all things considered. So yes, that is considered to be, I guess, somebody who's worth $1 billion. That doesn't mean that he has access to that much cash. Like, I think at any given time he probably has millions of dollars of cash, but nobody has more than millions of dollars of cash.
Right, so maybe not no one, but that begs the question, if you call someone a billionaire, does that mean they are worth billions, or does that mean they have billions?
Right, or is billions their potential future income or potential value or everything like that? I don't know. That's a really good point.
Well, so I guess my point is Beyonce and Jay-Z could be billionaires in the sense that they are worth a couple $1 billion.
Could be.
With their companies, brand deals, real estate, everything, all totaled.
Maybe. I don't see it.
So you might be wrong. It's really the main point here. You might be wrong.
I love that you delight in saying that, even though that's not true. Like, that brought you joy. I just watched it on your face. Joy. Like a child being handed a lollipop. With your little, rosy cheeks and your little pinwheel hat. I would pay...
I don't have a pinwheel hat. I might have rosy cheeks.
I would pay $20 for you to wear one of those little pinwheel hats like some little kid.
So you can make fun of my rosacea and...
No!
I don't actually have rosacea, by the way.
Who's rosacea? Did she win Drag Race this season? I'm not keeping up. But...
remember the story that I've told many times that I won't... about the girl with the cunt in the air?
Yes.
She had rosacea.
And that girl's name was Beyonce.
And now everyone's going to be like, tell the story. No, I'm not telling that story.
No.
But anyway, Tina Turner.
This girl, her cunt in the air, very, very disrespectful. Anyway, Tina Turner. God, this sucks.
I mean, she was 83 and apparently sick. Sick with what? I don't know.
She did have a kidney transplant in the past couple of years. So I think she had some form of cancer and then it was put into remission. But living in Switzerland, literally living her best life. Like, she gave an interview, I think, in March or April, so not that long ago.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Is Ike still alive?
No, he died a long time ago. Oh, funny story about that.
Did she kill him?
Basically. At Ike's funeral, the person who took a lot of credit for their success, Phil Spector, got up and gave a rambling speech saying, basically, Tina Turner's not shit. She could have been Tina Turner. Could have been any of those women in any of the dance halls in Nutbush, Tennessee.
Oh my God.
And one of them got picked, and it was Tina Turner. Everything she said about Ike was bullshit. Like, just got up and gave the stem winder of a speech. I think before he allegedly killed that woman. But I just love it. I just love that Ike Turner had one friend left, and it was Phil Spector. That's when you know it's bad.
Well,
As someone who, by the way, doesn't believe that Phil Spector did it.
okay. To show my age, actually to show my lack
You
of
were
age,
one of those girls in Nutbush, Tennessee.
to show my lack of age.
Big wheel, keep on turning.
Obviously, I knew who Tina Turner was because of her music, and you know, my mother listened to enough. But I didn't know who Ike was until I watched Clueless, because they have that one line in Clueless where Cher is talking about her friend Dion and says Dion and Dion's boyfriend saying they've seen that Ike and Tina Turner movie just one too many times, and I'm like, what does that even mean? So I looked it up and I was like, oh, so these are what these.
Oh my God!
I had no idea. I was young and sheltered.
We were at a restaurant. I was at a restaurant once with my parents, and we talked to somebody, and shook his. It was this old man who was kind of funny and kind of quirky, and we left, and my parents said, "Yeah, you know who that was, right? That was Ike and Tina Turner's manager, like their road manager." I'm like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, he lives in Fresno. He's well known." I was like, "What?
Why would he live in Fresno?"
I don't know. I don't know why you would make a bunch of money in Hollywood and move to Fresno. It seems like it's the other way around.
After everything you've told me.
Fresno is just a miniature Los Angeles in a place that people don't want to live in. That's the best description I can make of what Fresno is. There's nice parts, there's bad parts, but you don't have the common bond of being in a place that's near a beach or that's desirable to be. It's hot, it's nasty, and that's just the women.
Are you done? I'm just kidding.
Oh my God. No, I'm never done. I'm never done. I'm relentless.
I think we've all figured that out.
Relentless. I have to move that plan again.
But you were upset, obviously, about Tina Turner. I know some of her music. I wasn't the biggest fan, I will admit. I mean, she was very talented. I just wasn't for me.
I was upset, and people called me. Like, friends actually called me, and they were like, I know that you would be upset. And I'm like, yes, I am. Because this was...
Well, you came back... you came back from Walking the Dog, and you just opened the door, and you're like, she's dead. Tina Turner's dead. I'm like...
And you're like...
Okay.
And then I told Kyle, and Kyle was like, she was alive. So that was the response I got from my household about this. Instead, my lovely friends from all over the country called me, and were like...
Holding Shiva on the phone with you?
Literally, we were sitting Shiva on the phone. We were eating lox and mourning. This is why I think Tina Turner is very important. I mean, many reasons. But one, there's a small group of people who were pop stars before any of the current pop stars existed, before these pop stars existed, who basically set the tone for what it's like to do that job. And the biggest thing, and I think that a lot of people have said this in a lot of tributes, the biggest thing you can attribute to Tina Turner is she did the work. She did rehearsals. She rehearsed after rehearsals. She showed up. She played dives. She played Wembley Arena. And she played everywhere in between. And you could see the work. And when she did that Grammys performance or whatever, doing Proud Mary with Beyonce, she outsang and outdanced somebody who was at least 50 years younger than she is, because that is the repetition of again and again and again and again and again. And that's something that you don't see anymore, where you see pop stars who are like, I have exhaustion and everything like this. Mick Jagger said, all my moves in the Rolling Stones were inspired by going on tour with Tina Turner. Like, there's not many people that you can say inspired who a pop star is or who they're supposed to be like that. Because, look, Aretha had the voice, and then Whitney after that. Prince had the guitar, Tina did the dance. And Michael Jackson did all of them. And so that was why it was,
Sorry. Laughing at it. Joke inside my head.
And you sold the merch. What do you want?
Well, no.
And Phil Spector shot the gun in the recording.
It was a different generation. I mean, that whole generation worked hard, practiced hard, like
Right.
all of that stuff. The pop stars of today don't know what work is.
No.
They go into a studio and, you know, if
You basically say the lyrics.
if it's a bad day, they have, you know, enough auto-tune to fix you and it doesn't sound, you know... Obviously, if you can't hold a tune, the auto-tune sounds like auto-tune, but they have technology
For
good
God's
enough...
sake, Janice Dickinson can have an auto-tune song, and she admits, I'm not a singer. So, there you go. She's a singer-sewing machine, maybe.
Oh, God. She's looking old.
But yeah,
and haggard.
So anyway, so Tina did the work, and number two, it was rare at the time, not so much anymore, that you had a performer who mined their own personal life for music. You know, you sang the song that someone handed you to sing. Like that was, you know, Berry Gordy or the Detroit Sound or you know, Phil Spector, for God's sake. Like they wrote a song for you to sing. With Tina Turner, it was like, no, I'm going to make my own music. This is what I'm going through. This is what I feel. This is me. It's rare you got to see somebody who is like me at 20, me at 40, you know, Private Dancer and stuff like that in the 80s. She was pushing her 40s. At the time, that was like, oh, what is this old woman singing about, you know, what's love got to do with it? Then in the 90s to her late 50s and early 60s, her last album, and then going back and performing in her 70s and then her, you know, up into her 80s. You don't see that. You see Madonna now, who's this scary, you know, Joker mask with her little dancing legs.
Who really doesn't perform much anymore.
She's going on tour again.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
She has done more damage to the financial situation of the gays. You know, I know, you know, an older gay gentleman who went to go see her, Madonna, at her last show, which was supposed to be an intimate cabaret evening with Madonna. And it's like, who? Just open up a sardine can and throw some glitter. It's the same effect. So, and she
But
comes
enough
in,
about Countess Luann.
and she comes up and she sings with you, Madeline, and you see this like old woman with a hip replacement like singing on stage, and you know the fishnets up her ass and her crack showing and stuff. It's nasty.
I will
That's
fact check.
nasty.
I will fact check you on that. She's too young to have a hip replacement because even if she had a failing hip, they wouldn't do it.
That's true.
I know this because I've known enough old women who needed hip replacements.
Well,
and
Gaga
they're like,
had a hip replacement.
well, no, but they're like, we won't do them unless we know you're going to die in the next 10 years because after 10 years, the hip replacement needs replacing again. And we don't want to do that.
That's true.
It's
My grandmother,
really
I think, was on her second,
ridiculous.
third. I don't know. They kept adding new ones in there. At a certain point, she was a fucking Terminator. So, basically, we lost a big star. We lost like the last big star, I think. When Cher goes, that might just close the door on everything. God forbid. But Cher keeps updating it, so who knows? You got Cher and Dolly Parton holding this country together. If they go, it's fucking over. Glendale will burn to the ground if Cher dies. Like, if Dolly Parton goes, the whole Smoky Mountains will go up in smoke. Like, you have a couple people who will hold this country together, and that's it. When they're gone, it's over. We're left with like Tool and Metallica, and that's sad.
As my mother says, now that she lives in Tennessee, there are two people you cannot disrespect to a Tennessean:
Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton and Pat Summitt, who was the Lady Vols basketball coach who got Alzheimer's and passed away, but she was like the best coach of all time, and like, you know, got a fame and accolades and all that stuff.
You can't disrespect Marge Schott in Cincinnati. Like that's what it comes down to.
Speaking of the gays, though, since you brought them up earlier, they're dying apparently because they're drinking poppers. They're too stupid to know the difference between a 5-hour energy and a poppers container.
If you snort a 5-hour energy drink, you have what's coming to you. And if you drink poppers,
you have what's coming to you.
How can you? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. How can you open up a poppers container and think this is something I should drink? 5-hour energy smells like.
But the
like
whole point of poppers is it has a strong smell. So as soon as you open it, you know exactly what the fuck it is.
5-hour
right?
energy.
It shouldn't have a smell. I would hope not.
If you open up Poppers, you'll have gays from 3 miles around showing up on your doorstep.
Right.
If you open up a 5-hour Energy in a gas station, no one will know.
So I don't know if the FDA was just like clowning people and we're like, we need to find something to put out for Pride
Some
Week.
nasty faggot at the FDA was like, you know what?
Pride Week's coming up. I mean, Pride Month's coming up. We need to pull out.
It used to be a week.
You're right.
It used to be a week. When did that change?
Is that why it naturally came out Pride Week?
No, but that's true. Because up until, I think, like 2015, like up until not that many years ago, it was Pride Week in LA.
But technically now the gays have 2 months, right?
What?
You have Pride Month, which is June, and then you have LGBTQ History Month, which is October.
Oh, please. They just won a month that ends in Halloween. That's fucking stupid.
Well, no. Apparently, they encompass that in October because October 11th is National Bully Awareness Day or something, some bullshit like that. And bullying is somehow linked to LGBT people. I don't know.
That's fucking stupid.
I've bullied many LGBT in my
Still do. And October 11th, you do it twice as much.
I didn't tell you that story. In fact, it's because I'm wearing this shirt that it reminds me.
What? You're wearing a purple? Okay.
Yes.
I should describe for the audience because this is not a video podcast, and your words will never be. But it says, "What are you doing here without Dorinda?"
Yes.
And it's a purple shirt.
Yes.
And people have. By the way, I can attest to this. People have come up to you in real life and said,
I love your shirt.
"I love your shirt." Like,
yes, because it's an inside joke to people who watch Real Housewives of New York City.
yes.
But anyway, it's the color that makes the difference. So on October 11th, you're supposed to wear purple as a sign of I am anti-bully. And so when I was at the university where I got my PhD, I won't name it.
University of Phoenix.
Yeah, right. I happened to walk into the student lounge that we all shared, and the girl that claimed to everyone in the department that I was a bully and I was bullying her, I happened to wear this shirt, and I wore it on October 11th, and it was purple. And I walked in and I made sure to have the conversation with someone else in the room about why I was wearing purple and what that meant for the October 11th. And I made sure she was around to hear it. And so I said...
so you were bullying her?
No.
That's the most fake, innocent voice I've ever heard you use.
So...
No.
No, it was quite amazing. So, she had just gotten dumped by her fiance in the airport when they were about to go visit her family in Colombia.
Oh my God.
And I may or may not have laughed and said, these are the days that make life worth living. Because she was always just a rude cunt and just fake as fuck.
So she was
So I didn't like her. Yeah, she was a bully. In a fake way. I was a bully in a outward way. So yeah, she knew I didn't like her. But the point is, she was spreading to everyone that I was a bully. And so I walked in on October 11th, I think it was 2017, something like that. I walked in with this shirt on, and I said to someone, "Oh yeah, I'm wearing purple because today is National Bully Awareness Day or something." And we all know I'm no bully. And I looked right at her with like eyes daggers, and she just went, and she ran out of the room.
Oh my God.
And I haven't seen her since. No.
I was gonna say, where is she now?
Dead. I don't know. It's a lovely story. Anyway, that's how I know that October 11th is National Bully Awareness Day or whatever the fuck they call it. And that is why they made October LGBT History Month or whatever, because
That's so fucking dumb.
what do you want from me? I'm just reporting the news.
A new month.
I'm just reporting the news.
A new month. Well, speaking of reporting news, what do we have next? What's on tap? What's the hot gossip? What's the 411?
Well, to wrap it up, yes. So do not drink poppers, please. Like, we would like you to keep listening to our podcast.
No, drink poppers. I'm going to advocate that on this. I'm going to boldly advocate.
Go like poppers. My tweet about it because I thought it was funny, even though people thought it was mean.
Why? You were telling... What did you say about... What was the tweet regarding?
That it was natural selection and that you should not be consuming either of these products.
Either poppers nor 5-hour energy.
Yes, exactly. Don't buy them, and you'll have no problem.
Well, someone was like... One of my followers posted, when did 5-hour energy cost $30 a bottle?
Jesus.
Like, who's going to confuse that?
Is that how much poppers are? Jesus.
Thanks to your president, Joe Biden.
Speaking of presidents, thank you for segueing right into another topic. So your favorite person of all time, gay Ron DeSantis,
retard Ron DeFatass,
has
if Trump called him gay Ron, that would end that would end DeSantis's entire political career.
He announced yesterday that he
was
running for president.
Flop.
And I really thought he was smart enough not to do that. I really was. But and then to top it all off, to do it on a fucking Twitter space, like, I don't understand what.
By the way,
who thought that was a good idea?
People I know who supported him were like, that's a huge mistake. People I know who hated him were like, that's a huge mistake. I think even Elon Musk was like, that's a huge mistake. And he fucking did it anyway. Announcing on a Twitter space.
That crashed.
Yes. Imagine waiting months and months and months to announce that you're running for president, which everybody fucking knows because you're look, okay, I'm going to make this very clear.
Oh, God.
People don't go to Iowa voluntarily. If you're at the Iowa...
They do.
No, they don't. No, you go to Iowa because you know people there. And I know people from Iowa. You go to Iowa because you have family there. You know people there. Nobody goes there for a vacation. No one's like, I really want to see Des Moines this summer. No one summers in Des Moines. I'm sorry. No one goes to Ames just for shits and giggles. No one goes to Iowa City unless you're going to school there. Okay, I'm just going to make that very clear. If you go to Iowa, to the Iowa, sausage showdown or something there, and you have to talk to the same guy who sits there at the corn stand every fucking year, you're running for president. There's no bones about it. I don't care. I don't care how good the corn is. You get good corn elsewhere. If you're going to Iowa, you're going to Iowa for a reason. And by the way, I could say the same about New Hampshire, so don't get too fucking comfortable. New Hampshire is on that list too. The only of the three starting primary states I could see visiting recreationally is South Carolina. But Iowa, New Hampshire...
Not anymore. They took down the John C. Calhoun statue. That's the only one reason I wanted to go.
I'm going to go put it back up. But if you're going to Iowa, you're not going there for vacation. You're going there because you're running for president. And as soon as retard Ron DeFatass went to Iowa, we should have known you're running for president. At that point, I think if you cross into Iowa airspace and you're not going somewhere else, you should have that. The FEC should be notified. You're filing for president. You don't go, you're not like, I just like the people. No, fuck you. You don't just like the people of Iowa. You don't just go there for funsies. There's plenty of other states where you can do that, like Indiana or Ohio or Pennsylvania. There's 10 other states you can do that. But Iowa specifically, with their 99 little fucked up counties, because you have to go to everything. I've been to every single county. That's why I'm running for president. This poor state has been bastardized into importance by primary candidates on both sides when they could be perfectly enjoyable on their own, but they've been ruined. This Iowa has been ruined by the primary process.
This Iowa, as if there's another one?
This Iowa.
That Iowa, this one?
Iowa, and then there's Iowa Plus available. It's Iowa Max. It's a streaming service. No. Iowa has been ruined.
As an aside, there is a town in Louisiana spelled Iowa, but it's pronounced Iowa. But anyway.
That's fucking dumb. I'm sorry. But if you're going to Iowa, you're going there for a reason. So every time Mike Pompeo or Chris Christie, I can believe that they would go there for the food. Yes. I can believe that they would go there for the food. But DeSantis walking into a diner and some guy introducing himself being like, hi, I'm Jim Smith. And DeSantis is just like, okay. And then moves on to another person. When these little evil political automatons show up, they're running for president. So that's my biggest thing is he's been running for the past 6 to 8 months and was not honest enough to say, I'm running for president, I'm filing paperwork to do it, and I'm accepting donations. I think that's bullshit, but anyway, continue. now that we've lost all of our listeners in the state of Iowa who are sitting there with a corn cob up their ass trying to get antenna service. And by the way, this is someone from Fresno. I'm from a region of the country that is poorer and more backwards than you are in Iowa. In Iowa, you get presidential candidates. I got a pissed off, spray tan Mitt Romney in 2008. That's it. That's all I got. And John McCain, who did not like my high five.
Oh, God. I don't know. I can appreciate everything that Ron has done.
Yes.
I can acknowledge that he might be a good president someday.
Yes.
I don't know why you have such a visceral aversion to the man.
Just sub out these 2 words for Ron DeSantis in what you just said. Ted Cruz.
What do you mean?
Do you get it now? I appreciate everything Ted Cruz has done. I could see Ted Cruz being an effective president someday.
Okay, but I guess my point is,
they can't win.
You don't think? Okay. Well, what are you basing?
Win, and they're.
What are you basing that off?
You have 2 people who are intelligent, very intelligent, who can win an election, have done them before, can represent a specific state and their interests on a national scale, who have administrative capacity, although Ted Cruz is more of a legislator. I think he, all right, future Supreme Court justice, but that's another story. Are 10 out of 10 on the conservative issues. Like, you're not going to have any daylight on what they believe and what mainstream conservatism believes. Like, they're very good when it comes to that. And have an aversion to the media and are combative when it comes to that, which I personally appreciate because I think the media is dog shit. They cannot win as they currently stand in a general election. You will not get an independent voter to vote for somebody who is semi-combative / socially, who has social awkwardness for any kind of position. And your first introduction to this person cannot be negative. Most Americans' first introduction to Ted Cruz is negative. Oh, this guy wants to cut your Social Security. This guy thinks this guy says that. This guy went to Cancun, all that stuff. Most Americans' first introduction to Ron DeSantis is negative. He wants to ban gays, all this stuff. And you know how bullshit it is, but that was their introduction. Most Americans' introduction to Donald Trump over the past 30, 40 years has been positive. This man's rich. This man is funny. This man is a television star. This man builds buildings. You know, that's their view of this person. And that's, unfortunately, you can't overcome those first impressions very easily. And I'll use a Democrat example of that. Their first impression and many follow-up impressions of Hillary is not positive. Hillary had a big positivity gap to overcome, and it turns out didn't. That's why I think he has a fatal flaw. And if he has to run, it has to take time. It has to take a kind of like a tour around the country. You have to be looked at as a funny and likable guy, which he is not, as it currently stands. That's a bad situation to be in if you're going to run for the biggest office.
But my worry is they have so much more ammunition. I mean, when I say they, I mean the media and the left has so much more ammunition against Trump than they do someone like DeSantis.
Right, and it's a baked-in quantity. Trump is not going to have a more negative view or outlook among the American public. It's all baked in. If you love him or hate him, it's kind of in one way. There's only a place. The only place to go is up. Whether he loses a court case, wins a court case, anything like that.
Well, okay, fine. To play your scenario out, and I said this to you before.
Yes.
If we're left with a rematch between Biden and Trump in 2024, the only hope that Trump has of winning, because of all of the, call it what you want, call it cheating, call it fraud, call it
ballot harvesting, whatever.
or even legal cheating, or the things that they pull out and the things that they're able to accomplish.
All the nastiness.
All of that considered, the only way that I see this coming out positively for our side, well, for Trump, would be if Biden continues to fail as royally as he is. He cannot garner any more popularity or sympathy or anything from anyone else, and Trump, on the other hand, cannot garner any more hatred than he already has.
Right.
Because
and that's a tough line to walk.
We need a repeat of 2016 where most of the people in the middle either voted third party or stayed home.
Here's how a Biden but that's true. That's a very true point. Here's how a Biden DeSantis match goes. DeSantis goes up and says all of his things about Social Security, Medicare, whatever, the Florida experiment, the Florida success, all this crap. And it's fine. It's okay. Okay, that's your state. Biden gets up and says, this man is dangerous. He wants to affect your child's education. He wants to cut your Social Security and Medicare. Boom. Biden wins 52-45. Done. It's done. It's over. That ends the entire election. You scare enough people in the older right-leaning column, and you scare enough young people into voting, it's done. That's all that he needs. Now, with Biden and Trump, you have, were you better off in Trump's presidency, or are you better off now? That's a harder argument to make, because I don't think anyone is better off now. Even billionaires are not better off now. That's what it comes down to. And I think that that's a more cogent argument to make, because when people are actually, now, by the way, that means that Republicans in the legislatures and, at the state and local level need to be very on to, you have to show up and vote one day. It has to be in person. Absentee ballots should be limit the mail-in nonsense, because that's stupid. And you've had, by the way, 3 years already to do that and, and get that started. So if you haven't gotten started, do it now, pass it. Because all this absentee shit is horrible, and it's not even absentee at this point; it's just mail-in ballots. So get started on that. But if that's what you want to do, that's the thing. If you scare Americans about Social Security and Medicare, the two things that are glue, like holding this country together, especially for the over 65 set, you lost. Paul Ryan could never be president, not even close.
To end this conversation, because I want to move on to the last topic. Just because I want to put a caveat on what you just said, I have no problem with early voting as long as it's in person. Like, if you have the same requirements,
the same standards for the first 2 weeks, yeah.
But if you have a month of voting where you can go in at your leisure and things are open, polling places are open, after hours for those people who work 9 to 5 Monday through Friday,
right.
As long as it's the same kind of stringent policies as you have of voting day voting, I have no problem with that. Right. It's the mail-in shit that
that's when needs to be. That's when it gets nasty.
It just needs to be restricted only to people who have a legitimate reason. Right. I'm not currently in the state where I'm registered,
disabled,
I am abroad serving the country in the military,
or I'm in a wheelchair like that. Whatever the situation is. But yes.
Well, even in that capacity, we have ways to.
Yeah, but I think that's look, 20% of this country can't walk. So, okay, what are you going to do with that? There you go. That's a situation that we have to deal with. Which is also why, by the way, 20% of this country is not going to deal with Medicare cuts or anything along those lines. You have a tough situation to deal with. And that's something that Republicans and Democrats have ignored for the past 20 to 30 years. Everyone's richer. Okay, everyone's sicker. Great. What are you going to do with that? And everyone's not richer now. So now what? But anyway, next topic.
The LA Dodgers.
Dodger? I hardly knew her.
And their, what is it? What do they call it? Pride Night? Is that what they call it?
Oh.
Whatever game that they invite all these...
The gays don't care about baseball. They see the Bucks and that's it.
But they invite all these LGBT groups to Dodger Stadium specifically for one game.
And being an LA person, okay, it's an honor to go to Dodger Stadium and be brought on the field and to be awarded and feted and feted. I don't know what the term is. With the little E with the little coat over it. Feted. Feted, but the little that over the E.
Sure. I have no idea.
You know what I mean. But anyway, it's an honor to do that in LA because there's not many things that bind LA people together like the Dodgers. In fact, there's almost nothing left. So to be a guest of the Dodgers there is a big honor. Okay. Anyway, continue. In a non-sports town, by the way.
Well, no. So they have their yearly
thing where they're like, "Hi, gang."
Again, I'm going to call it Pride Night because I
think that's what it used to be called. Now it's like something else.
Right. So they sent out formal invitations, and then for some reason they were stupid enough to, instead of just not sending an invitation to this one group, they actually like put out a press release and were like, "By the way, we're specifically not inviting the Sisters of
Perpetual
Indulgence."
So it's this weird cosplay nun drag queen shit. And I remember these people from, years and years ago in San Francisco. These people would show up and nasty shit.
Right. And apparently their raison d'etre is to bring people's awareness to the intolerance of sexual deviancy or something like that. So they are like they are the nuns of sexual tolerance or something. And so, which, is kind of part of their name and that's where it comes from. But being a Catholic, I understand why people would be, offended by this mockery, and
because it doesn't translate to other religions. You wouldn't see the rabbis of perpetual, indulgence. You wouldn't see the imams of perpetual indulgence. You wouldn't see, the prophets of perpetual indulgence. You wouldn't see this translate to any other religion, but it's okay to make fun of Catholics, so,
Right. But you brought up, and I didn't know this, so apparently the Dodgers do have some type of relationship with the Catholic Church in the city.
Yeah, going back years, it became like a thing, not the Archbishop, but like people would go out and throw baseballs. It's a very close relationship because LA has one of the most important Catholic dioceses in North America. I mean, Los Angeles is a huge population, especially Catholic, whether it's Irish or Mexican or whatever. Like, that's a big part of the community here. And so it's basically like, it's like going to Chicago and being like, fuck the aldermen. Like, the Catholics are very important. They're an important part of the city.
And probably
have been settled the city. Like, we're an important part of the city since the 1770s. Like, that's a nasty thing to do.
And probably support the Dodgers quite a bit.
Oh, yeah. When you think of, like, donations-wise, or people who buy the boxes, or people who, go and give them merch.
So, the thing is, and I could have possibly... It could be written somewhere, but I didn't see anything relatively... readily available, I should say, on why specifically the Dodgers said they weren't inviting them. So in their press release, they didn't give a specific reason. But
I think because there was an initial outrage. It's like the Target making the tucking panties for like underage kids.
Which
they were like,
right, but
which is not okay.
And which is weird because apparently they had been invited in years past. So it's like this year it became a problem. I have a problem with it, period. But the point is they disinvited them. Then all of a sudden Twitter made a stink about it.
As usual.
And then all of a sudden they were like, "Oh, we were fed incorrect information about your order, and oh, we're so sorry." And
your order?
Yeah.
This isn't a real Catholic diocese.
And like bowed down to them and had a face-to-face meeting with the...
I wouldn't want to get close to those powdered faces.
With the prefect or whatever the fuck they call these people.
It's like 8 faggots that go in drag. Like, let's be honest.
But
just like some of the Catholic churches.
I just don't see why the Dodgers felt that they need to just tuck tail and bow down to these people.
If they were tucking, they should have gone to Target. But
it just baffles me. It baffles me why they always win.
It's funny to me that Tucker was not on the air when the Target tucking situation happened. That would have been great. Tucker, I hardly knew her. But no, these because they always win because
the voices are louder even though they're fewer?
Because they're more scared of them. They're not scared of Catholic fans boycotting the Dodgers.
I've written about
They
that,
are
yeah.
more scared of these LGBT whatever groups being like, okay, fine, we're going to lean on Bank of America and Citibank and your payment processors, and you can't have credit cards in your stadium anymore.
Or we're going to
That's-
burn your stadium down.
Exactly. Like, they're more scared of that than a few older Hispanic ladies who are going to a Dodgers game, who are like, saying a rosary before they go in, and they're like, what the hell is this? They're more scared of that. Sorry. For a long part of American history, they should have been more scared of Catholics, but now they're not. You know who is not scared of Catholics and dressed up in robes and like flamboyant outfits? The Klan. And now they exist as the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. So,
Well,
probably lynched a few twinks.
I find it interesting and fascinating and irritating.
Well, it's all those things.
But I did want to ask just really quickly at the very end here. So you saw, which I've never seen any of these, you saw Fast and Furious 10.
Yes. Go see it.
Have you seen any of the other ones
No.
before? Okay. But
I've
you
seen
thought
like
it
a little
was
bit of the first one. I think I saw
entertaining?
the whole first one. It's fun. And so two things really quick about it. One, it's fun for the whole family because there's lots of racing, there's crashes, there's fun shit that happens. Two, no wokeness, no nonsense. Men fight, women fight. Jason Momoa is basically a trans character, and it's like he's this drug lord in Brazil, but he's very flamboyant. Like, there's actually a scene where there's two dead bodies there, and he's doing their nails. He's like, "This color wouldn't work on you," and it's fantastic. And he dresses up in like a purple blouse and all these rings and like a man bun. It's hilarious.
So this is basically Dylan Mulvaney in about 10 years.
If Dylan Mulvaney took steroids and tanned and was actually attractive, But enough about Heather Dubrow. So,
How dare you?
did you see it?
Yes, don't bring it up. Heather Dubrow is a lovely woman.
A woman.
Yes.
But I heard
Nope,
she went to Target. She tucked.
Nope.
She tucked. They tucked.
I will not have this Heather slander on my podcast.
How can you have 3 trans children?
Oh my god. They're not trans.
What are
She
they?
has no trans children. She has lesbian and bi child.
And a non-binary.
No, I don't think so.
I think all the kids are a different. All the kids
has,
represent
like,
a different
4.
color on the flag.
She has like 4 kids.
Yeah, well, your kids can't be a crosswalk. I'm sorry. But no, I thought it was a lot of fun. It was a great movie. It's a long movie. It's over 2 hours, and I had fun the whole time. I think it's great. I think that even if you're not a car person, you would enjoy it. So go see Fast 10.
And then go fuck yourselves.
Yes, and Barbie next.